When creating the straps, you want to make sure you bring them over to the iron, and you're going to iron them straight. You are then going to fold your fabric with right sides together. So see, this is the printed side, and this is the side that's not so pretty. You're going to fold it in half, lining up your edges. Hopefully you cut straight. Maybe use your seam setting. I would do this with all of your pieces. Then you're going to move over to a table and pin. You are going to end up sewing down this long edge and down one side. So really that is the only places you need to pin. And remember, when we pin, we want to make sure we are going in the fabric and back out with the colored ball on the outside. So that way it's easy to grab when you are sewing. All right, when you are ready to sew your strap, you're going to make sure your folded edge is back here and your two open edges are right here. Okay, and one of your sides is lined up with the presser foot. When we sew these projects, you're either going to line it up with the presser foot or you'll line it up with that 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so at this time I'm going to be using black thread so you can see it better, but hopefully when you're sewing your project, you will be using a color of thread that will be more camouflaged in your project. So I will begin by sewing a couple stitches and then back stitching like you have practiced. I will sew until I can see the number 20 on there, and that's probably going to be pretty close to lined up with my presser foot. If I notice that I'm not lined up when I pivot, I probably can pull my presser foot back up, push it back down, and I can hand reel backwards and it erases one of my stitches. Then I can lift up my presser foot, turn, and it looks like I'm pretty lined up with that side of the edge of the presser foot. I can remove my pins as I go, and I will sew all the way down, keeping my fabric lined up with that presser foot. Removing pins as I go. If I notice I'm not lined up anymore, I can just stop and pick up where I left off. Probably should have had a little extra pins there. When I get close to the end, I'm going to reverse stitch and off the strap I go. Pull it off. I have now sewn my strap and it is still inside out. When it is time to turn it right side out, you want to make sure that you cut this corner. Careful not to cut your stitches that you made, but get fairly close. Then you are going to turn this edge and kind of shove it inside itself just a little bit. And we are going to use a yardstick to help us turn the rest of the way. Okay, so I've kind of tucked that edge in. I am going to use the yardstick. Just get it started. Stand it up and slide it over. Hopefully during your sewing you really stayed along that presser foot. If you did not, the yardstick will not fit. So we will continue. Until it gets turned the correct way. And then we can remove it. And you will want to make sure that you work the edges to make sure it's square. And then go over to the iron and iron it. And there's your finished strap.